All right, hello and welcome to our TM6 Highlights cooking class. Today we have so much we want to show you, so I'm going to dive almost right in. Just a few things to know. Please stay on mute so that just the presenter can be heard. At the very end, there'll be an opportunity for you to come off mute and have a chat and see what other questions you have. But in the meantime, we have a chat box available that you can write any questions in as we go. There's a few consultants on tonight, so one of us will be able to answer your questions as we go. So that's really all. Oh yes, also I will be sending out an email tomorrow to all of you with the recording from today, as well as the links to the recipes. So don't feel like you need to take mad notes about that. Obviously take notes about the hints and tips you're finding along the way, but you'll get some resources tomorrow when I send the email. So yes, we have our TM6 here, and we're going to be showing you lots of things along the way, and I'll be cutting in and out to show you different things as well. But to start off with, we are going to cut over to the very lovely consultant Penny, who is going to begin with our recipe demonstrations of the TM6 functions. So tonight really is about showing off the functions of the Thermomix and different reasons why people invest in a Thermomix at a safe time, bring some health into their life to save money, but also bring some variety, save on energy and kind of environmental friendly ways of cooking, as well as to have fun and get back in the kitchen cooking from basics. So for everyone uses their Thermomix a little bit differently. And so yeah, hopefully by the end of tonight you'll be able to see how you may use it in your house, or at least get some ideas. So first over to Penny, and she can introduce herself.
Hi everyone. Thanks, Laura. So I'm going to show two features of the TM6. The first thing, which has to be one of my favorite things about the TM6, is the high heat function. So the TM6 can get up to 160 degrees, whereas the TM5 only gets to 120. So the good thing about the high heat is not only can you caramelize perfectly cooked meat, all that sort of stuff, but we can also do sugar work. So this was one of the things that absolutely blew my mind when we got the new TM6. You can make lollipops, you can do caramel, toffee, all sorts of things, but the honeycomb is out of this world. So I'm going to show you this first. So this recipe is on Cookie Do, and it's actually really simple. I'm just going to change it around a little bit. So it's really important when you're doing sugar work that your quantities are absolutely spot on, otherwise it won't work. So it tells us to line a cake tin and sift 1 tablespoon of bicarb soda and set aside. I've actually done 3 teaspoons just because it's a little bit less bicarby, but it still works really well, and I find that quantity works perfectly. So we're going to place, it says 300 grams of white sugar. I'm just going to use raw sugar. Let's see if I can get that spot on. Now I have made this a few times, so the quantities that I'm using tonight and the ingredients that I'm using are what work for me. Oh, 302. So next, 80 grams of water, so just normal tap water. And then 20 grams of honey or golden syrup. So I'm using golden syrup, and I've made this myself, again, in the Thermomix. It's really simple. And I just find that this, for me, works better than honey flavour-wise. Oh, can I get that 1 gram in? Yes. Okay, so without the measuring cup, I'm going to pop the lid on. So it's going to cook for 22 minutes, and all I need to do is just turn the dial and it starts. And you can hear it sort of stirring, and then it will stop and it will start to cook and bubble up, and you can hear it. Laura, do you want me to start there egg boiler mode as well, or do you want to come back to that?
Yes, please, because then you can show us how the honeycomb's bubbling up.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So the second thing, and probably one of my favorite modes on the TM6, is the egg boiler mode. I was one of those people who, when I cooked eggs on the stove, they were either completely undercooked or completely overcooked. So I'll flick you around to my second machine. And you'll see, I can't see. There we go. Over here, we've got egg boiler mode. So it's really cool, gives you hints and tips. You can do between 2 to 6 eggs, cold from the fridge without the simmering basket. So what I'm gonna do is just grab 2 eggs out of the fridge. Just normal eggs, and I'm just gonna pop them in the bottom of my bowl. And then I'm gonna add in water up to the 1 litre mark. And then I'm going to select whether I want my eggs soft, medium hard, or hard. I think I might go medium hard. Oh, no, I won't, because I haven't got my lid on. So very important, pop your lid on. Then I'll go medium hard. And it will just start, and it will boil those eggs perfectly. So it's saying approximately 14 minutes. The really cool thing about this mode is the blades don't spin at all. So that is the eggs. The honeycomb is not bubbling yet, so we can come back to that if you want, Laura.
That's fine, we can come back to that. So we are going to go over to Yolanda now, who's going to start showing us also high heat, but she can introduce what she's doing. She's a gourmet baker, so I'll send over to her.
Hey, thanks, Laura. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me on tonight. It's wonderful. Glad to see you all there. I've been trying all sorts of new recipes because we're in lockdown. So we've got a wonderful new cookbook and we've got things on Cookie Do we can try all the time. And when this class came up, I thought perfect opportunity to cook something I haven't tried before. So I've got a recipe that's it's come from a USA collection called Bon Appetit, and it's called Heong or golden flavour prawns. It's quite delicious, and that's why I wanted to make it for this class. While we're all at home and we can't go to restaurants, I thought it was really nice to cook something that was restaurant quality. So just to get the jump start on this recipe, the first thing we have to do is put 10 grams of oil into the Thermomix and heat it for 3 minutes. So I've had that going, and I've got about less than 15 seconds to go. And then we'll do the next step, which is adding the prawns. We're going to use things like lemongrass, shallots, ginger, garlic, some soy sauce, some curry, and a bit of chili as well. Oh, there we are. The oil's heated. And it's going to make a very flavoursome dish. So I'll just tip this back. Actually, I'll go back to just the start screen. Don't know if you can actually see what the recipe is called. We'll put it in the links anyway, so never mind, you don't actually need to see. Heong, golden fragrance prawns. Okay, so the 10 grams of oil's in, it's been heated. In goes the measuring cap. There is some work to be done in advance preparing the prawns. You leave the heads on and the tails on, but just take off the shell and devein and pat them a little bit dry. So now I'm putting 250 grams of prawns in. And because we're also going to use the high heat function, we don't want to overload our bowl because we want it to be able to get to the high heat temperature. I'll just pop one more in. So we've got them nice and evenly distributed in the bowl so that they'll cook well. Pop our lid on, and we need the splash guard because we're working with high heat. The splash guard just sits on top like that. I do love the splash guard. Once we put it on, we click done, and then we start the high heat mode. These prawns are going to cook for about 4 minutes. Don't know if you can hear me over the noise, can you? Yeah, it's about 4 minutes. I love with the high heat mode that it starts and stops. So at the moment, the blade has stopped turning and the prawns are just sitting on the bottom of the bowl. They're getting beautifully heated up. And as Jen mentioned, with high heat, they will go up to 160 degrees. So you get a lovely sizzle happening. Great if you want to caramelize onions or roasted capsicum strips. Wonderful too if you want to brown some meat, whether it's chicken strips or prawns in this instance. If you want to access the high heat function on your Thermomix, you do need to be in a guided recipe. You can't just select it as a mode like we do with egg boiler. That is a safety feature, but there's plenty of high heat basics collections that you can access in Cookie Doo. If you just search Cookie Doo collections and type in high heat, you'll be surprised what you'll find. There's a seafood one, onions, there's vegetables. So download those and have them ready to go when you want to use that function. Not sure if you can hear the sizzle on my machine. Can you hear that, Laura?
I can't hear that.
No. A shame. It is making a lovely sizzling sound and some nice steams coming out the top. And it always makes me quite happy when I hear that happening. So we've got about 2 minutes to go. Some of the ingredients we're going to use, the Asian flavours, are things that I typically have in my garden or that I buy a lot. Things like garlic, shallots, some lemongrass, some chilli, some ginger. Something that some people may not have a lot in their house is this little guy here. This is called curry leaves, and they smell absolutely amazing. You can grow them in your garden. You can grow this tree in a pot if you want to. This is growing in my backyard. You can freeze the leaves, and you can also buy them in the supermarket. If you look, you'll notice where the herbs are, you can buy curry leaves. So if your recipe asks for, a whole stem of curry leaves, that's a whole stem. But sometimes the recipe might ask for, 4 or 5, just little bits of the leaves. Don't skip those if you can get them. They're a wonderful thing to have in your cooking. They smell wonderful and they add some beautiful flavour. The other thing we're going to use in our recipe is a bit of curry powder. In this instance, I'm just using a regular store-bought curry powder. But there are lots and lots of recipes for curry powders on Cookie Doo. And it's wonderful to be able to dry roast those spices and then mill them and have your own ready-made curry paste or curry spices as either powder or paste. There's quite a few there to choose from. So have a try at that when you've got some time as well. We've got about a minute to go, and then we'll be moving on to the next step. We've got quite a few recipes tonight. So Laura, you're going to be swapping in and out between people.
Yeah, that's fine. And I was actually going to say Penny's honeycomb is bubbling away if we want to have a really quick look. If you've got
do that, because mine's going to finish in about a minute, and I'm just going to tip the prawns into a bowl and I'll be ready for the next step then.
Okay, here's Penny's honeycomb. And we had a few late joiners. We just, for those who joined recently, we are recording this, so you'll be able to catch up what you've already missed, just those first few minutes tomorrow when I send the recording.
Okay, so hopefully you can see this on the laptop. Oh, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's the honeycomb bubbling away. It still has 15 minutes to go. And the eggs are still happily cooking away. I don't know if you can hear it. They're just boiling, doing nothing really. But anyway, that's what's happening here.
Great, awesome. All right, we'll go back to Yolanda for the next steps then. Thanks, Penny.
Well, that was good timing because my Thermomix has just told me it's time to transfer them into a bowl and set aside. They do smell absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful prawns in there. All right, lots of flavour in the bottom of the bowl there, so we want to keep that. That'll go into the next step. Just set my prawns aside. All right, so next thing we do is we pop in 1 garlic clove, And we're going to add 30 grams of shallots, just chopped into little bits. And then we're going to add 15 grams of ginger, just cut into little pieces like that. And a bird's eye chilli that we've cut in half and de-seeded, making sure never to rub your eyes with the fingers once you've touched one of those. And the next thing it's asking for is 10 grams of sun-dried shrimp soaked. I actually couldn't get any sun-dried shrimp because we're under lockdown. I ducked in and ducked out to the shops and I couldn't go to an Asian grocer. So I did make this on the weekend just to test the recipe without the dried shrimp, and it was delicious anyway. So like all guided recipes, if you can't get exactly everything and it's something that's going to provide flavour like this, you can leave it out and just move on. All right, insert the measuring cap into the mixing bowl lid. Just like that. And we're going to chop just 5 seconds on speed 6. All right, scrape down the sides with a spatula as our next step. So now we have that beautifully chopped, nice rough chop, and all the flavour that was down the bottom is now mixed through. Give it a little scrape down with a spatula. And we're going to add a little bit more oil. I'm just using a peanut oil, but you could use whatever oil you prefer to cook with, so long as it's a light flavour one. About 30 grams of peanut oil. One of the things I really like about the Tm6, apart from the high heat mode, is the scales. Playing with 1 gram of accuracy, I think, is just absolutely fantastic. Next thing to add is a stalk of lemongrass, and just bruised. I've just cut some slits in it. This is a homegrown one. It's a good thing to have in the garden. And a tablespoon of curry powder goes in with that as well. The curry powder contributes toward the golden colour of this recipe due to the turmeric in there. And last but not least, our stalk of curry leaves just goes in like that. Measuring cap into the mixing bowl lid. And we're going to cook for 6 minutes. So it's already very fragrant, but once we start heating that in the oil, it's going to really release some amazing fragrances. So I'll see you in 6 minutes time, Laura.
Great, thanks so much. We are going over to Jenny, who's going to show us another thing you can make in your Thermomix. The lovely Jenny, here you are.
Oh. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Okay, cool. Welcome everybody for coming in tonight, and I hope everyone's doing well with lockdown. I just wanted to say that I'm actually feeling quite privileged to be in your homes tonight. I see a few of my customers and my to-be customers online. I'm craving social contact, so it's lovely still to be able to pop in and talk to everybody tonight, and obviously show off the Thermomix, which all of us consultants absolutely love. So we have had to switch over with COVID and the coming back of the lockdown and everything, but I hope everybody still gets something out of tonight, even if we can't be in your homes. So on that note, tonight I'm just doing a really, really simple hot chocolate. So it's this cold time of year. The kids are home. They're going to want afternoon tea. They're going to want morning tea. You're going to want to pick me up in the afternoon, that nice little sugary hit or what have you. So in Cookie-Doo, in guided cooking mode, you obviously can just go into your search bar and type in hot chocolate or hot chocolate. And I think there's about, or maybe 8 or 9 recipes, but I've selected one tonight from the Australian Cookie-Doo folder, and I think it's actually in the basic cookbook. I could be wrong. I didn't commit that to memory, but it's so simple. So it's 150 grams roughly of chocolate. So I've got in my little bowl here just some dark chocolate, a really good, I mean, I've used a really good quality Lindt one today, but whatever your favorite is. I've actually tried this with mint patties. And I've also got, you can see this nice gooey mixture here. They are just little, the fun size Mars bars chopped up. So this is going to be caramelly dark chocolate, hot chocolate. So also what you can do is in guided mode, you can go through those steps. But because we are showing off the functions of the Thermomix tonight, I'd like to introduce to you Kettle Mode, which is absolutely amazing for if you've got little children. I'm just going to scroll down. I don't know if you can actually see my screen. It might be a little bit bright. But anyway, there is Kettle Mode. How can I do that? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get it so you can see my screen. No, that's not going to work. Okay, won't be a sec. All right. Anyway, on your screen, you can swipe left and right and you'll find all the mode sections. We have Kettle Mode. And once you've selected Kettle Mode, it's just got the temperature, and then the Thermomix you'll just start it and it will cook for the right amount of time. So if I go back, I'm just wondering if I go back to guided cooking. So I've selected it, popped it into my week. I've got my hot chocolate there. You might be able to see a little bit better on my screen. So I'll just do start cooking, but there is Kettle Mode. Now, as I was explaining to you about Kettle Mode, it's really good if you are into, if you've got little ones and you want to make them like the little baby chinos, McDonald's and cafes, you need to keep that temperature down around the 40 to 60 degree mark. So you're not burning their little mouths and you want that frothy milk. So the last step on this, I'm going to froth the milk so you'll get that nice froth for the little kids. For the bigger kids, you want to keep the temperature around the 60 to 80 degrees, and for adults, 80 degrees is plenty for a hot chocolate, as well as if you've got those lovely teas that you brew from T2, those fancy tea shops, keeping your water and your water consistently brewing for about 5 minutes at 80 degrees means that you're not going to destroy the flavors in those teas. So just something you can think about. You've got that temperature control in that Kettle Mode. Kettle Mode's great as well. I have a heap of grey nomads, glampers and campers. So if you do go camping, you don't need to take a kettle. You can just have the Thermomix. If you're in a motorhome or a caravan, the same thing. You know, a Tm6 Thermomix has got 13 different functions that we're obviously going to highlight tonight, and this Kettle Mode is one of them, similar to the egg boiling mode. So all I'm going to do here, I'll just skip along, and I have just ducked back to guided cooking, but for some reason my lighting here is just terrible and that screen's just glowing white. But anyway, off we go. What we're going to do here is we're going to pop in, first of all, start cooking our 500 mils of milk. Now this recipe says full cream milk. I'm actually using light white. It's what we have here for our family. I've also made this for people who are dairy intolerant, so you can get a dairy-free chocolate, and you can also use coconut milk or another milk substitute like your almond milk, so it all works well. Then we're just going to tip in our 100 to 150 grams of our chocolate, and of course my caramel has stuck to the bottom of my bowl. And all we do now is pop the lid on and go over, and this is going to heat up for 6 minutes at 80 degrees, and it just wants me to turn the dial and start that function for speed 1. So I'll come back and show you the last second where I whiz this up, make it nice and frothy, and you'll see me pour it into a cup, add a couple of marshmallows, and my children are in the background here just busting to get a hot chocolate into them tonight. So I'll slip back to Laura. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. I'll take this opportunity to show everyone the Tm6 screen, which I was going to do at some point tonight when we had a few minutes. So this is the Tm6 screen. Hopefully you can all see that nice and big and clear. And this is the home page where you are in manual cooking. But first I want to show you the cookie do screen. So here's where you can browse down to see what's trending or what's new or just whatever the website wants you to see at the moment. But the main thing people use is this search bar. So in here, you can just type absolutely anything. If you type the name of a dish, it will come up, like Jenny was talking about with hot chocolate. But if you don't know what you want to cook and you want to type in an ingredient, you could just type in pumpkin, for example. You want to cook something that has pumpkin in it, and you can find something. You could type in 2 or 3 ingredients if you want, and it will come up. The other thing you could do is just type in a tag word, like, oh, I went into something. You could type in, what's a tag word? Like entertaining. Say you're having guests and you want to find all the entertaining recipes. You could type in that. There's heaps of tag words like healthy or afternoon tea or Mother's Day or gourmet is another good one. Yeah, so this is where you can find some great recipes. Once you've found the recipes, the recipe that you're wanting to cook, let's go with the fudge. Once you're in a recipe and you scroll down, it gives you all the info about the recipe, your ingredients, your steps, your nutrition guide. That'll be great for fudge. Tips and variation as well. And once you press start, it just takes you through one step at a time, gives you everything you need to do, and you just press next. The scales come up when they are needed. And you just go through. At any point in time, no matter what step you're on, even if you're in the middle of cooking something, you can press these 3 dots to come to, I don't think you can see that, maybe faintly, recipe detail, and you're back to see, because you might be doing the first step and the machine is mixing and stirring for you. So while that's happening, you can go to the pantry or the fridge and get out your next ingredients and have a look ahead to see what's happening next. So just so you can multitask and be organized, really. So that's the cookie do screen, and we will keep showing you more about that tonight with our recipes. Here we have our home screen where you're in control for manual cooking, where you just select a temperature, select a time, and then a speed. And once you press the speed, the arms will lock and you're going. But here are the modes we were talking about. So you've got dough mode, turbo, a self-clean mode, blend, egg boiler that Penny showed us. Kettle mode's what Jen was talking about. We've got a reheat mode, thicken, we're going to show soon, rice cooker, ferment mode, slow cook, and sous vide. So, and then we've got blank space, because every now and then we get software updates where they give us new modes, and I have no idea what could possibly come next. The latest one we had was the warm up and the egg boiler, I think. I can't remember. Feels like we've had them forever. And one more minute until Penny's ready with the honeycomb. So let me show you what comes with your Thermomix. So it comes with the machine, obviously. It comes with a simmer basket, which you can use to steam things or cook rice, potatoes, whatever, dumplings. That's your simmer basket. Spatula, which of course you always need a spatula. Comes with a butterfly whisk, which is really handy for whipping things, making your own mayonnaise, sauces, those types of things. And our Varoma, which is our steamer, which I don't think we're showing tonight. There's too much to show. So I'll send some links with some other recordings. But yeah, our Varoma is our steamer. You can be cooking something below or just have water in there, and the steam will be cooking something above. So you can really make a lot of food in a really energy efficient way. We also have our splash guard for using with high heat, sits on top there, and just our normal measure cup. Yeah. So I went really fast because Penny's ready for us, and I will show you more soon. The honeycomb really needs to be done in a time specific way. So here's Penny.
Hi everyone, so the honeycomb is done, and that's what you can see in the bowl. So I'm just going to tip my bicarb soda in, and now you'll see it sort of puff up, and now I'm just going to pour it. It's got to be really quick into my baking dish before it all sort of goes hard. And it's started to set already. Yeah, so it makes quite a bit. What we'll do now is just let it set. You don't have to use baking paper. You can use your Thermomat if you wanted to tip it on that and just let it sort of free form. But I don't know what I've done with my Thermomat. So you can see my bowl is a little bit sticky. Built into the recipe is instructions to do a pre-clean. So that should get most of that off my bowl. So that is done. I'll show you that once it's set.
Thank you, Penny. Sorry, I was finding the spotlight button. Okay, who do we need to go to next? Yolanda's probably ready for us, is she?
I sure am. My prawns.
Sorry.
That's all right. My prawns, with that honeycomb, you've got to go with it while you can go with it. Once it starts puffing up, you can't stop part way. Okay, so my prawns, they smell really amazing. And I think the picture just doesn't do them justice. They are definitely restaurant quality. I would urge you to give these a try. The aroma, as I said, is just amazing. So my husband's waiting for these in the other room. I'll be popular tonight. So while we are at home, do try some recipes that are maybe a little bit more gourmet, something a bit restaurant quality. We can't go to eat out, so we might as well eat in and make the best of our Thermomix.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, that looks absolutely delicious. Did you need a minute before your next dish, or can we go to Jen?
You can go to Jen, and I'll get ready after, like in a moment or two. How much time?
Yeah, great. Oh, as long as you need. That's fine.
A couple of minutes. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, everyone, while we get organized. Hey, Jen. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Okay, so I'm just going to try and get a bit of an angle on this. So we've just finished our cooking of the hot chocolate. Now I'm just going to come back to manual mode here, because obviously this isn't part of it, but I want to give the hot chocolate that really nice frothiness. So all I'm going to do is just turn the speed selector to speed 8 for about 30 seconds. And that's going to really froth up our hot chocolate and make it really yummy and creamy. I'll just let it go for a few seconds. I'm not sure if you can hear me over the top of that. All right, I've stopped it at 25 seconds because it doesn't really matter. It's just my family. But if you waited a little bit longer, although, oh, this looks really good anyway. So carefully taking the lid off. Now, I just wanted to point out here as well, if you can see, the Thermomix is flashing red here. So that's just a little visual indicator as well to the little kids as they're growing up, also to us adults, that we need to remember that the Thermomix is really hot when it goes, when it turns red, and that actually turns red after, if I can turn that to you, after the temperature gets to 60 degrees. So that's just a little bit of a safety feature that we have here. Now I've just poured that in. You can see that lovely froth on the top. I've got a couple of these cutesy little mini marshmallows. I'm not sure if you can see these. They were just those little ones from Coles and Woolies. I'll pop a couple of those on. And my beautiful daughter made on the weekend these delightful blueberry scones in the Thermomix. The recipe is on Cookie Doo, and so this is their dessert tonight. Beautiful gourmet hot chocolate and a blueberry scone. So I hope everybody had fun seeing that. As you can see, that froth there is really nice. This is definitely cafe quality and it looks really pretty. I'll take a photo and pop it on Facebook. Thanks again for watching on, and I'll catch you all later. And we'll head back to Laura and I think Penny.
Thanks so much. Okay, before we go back to Yolanda, I wanted to just share something I made earlier. My internet was down most of today. and they were threatening that it wouldn't be back till Wednesday. So I quickly did a pre-record in case I couldn't be in my kitchen cooking tonight, and in case I needed to go elsewhere where I could find some internet. So I've pre-recorded what I was going to be cooking live tonight. So here you go is me showing you more functions of the Thermomix. Hi, now I would love to show you the chopping function of the Thermomix, and I'm going to use that in manual mode because I want to just show you the difference between guided cooking, which we've been using mostly, and also manual mode, which is just using the home screen where you're in control of the time, temperature, and speed. But for this recipe, which is broccoli salad, it just all goes in. So I am putting in, and so this is what you do if you already know the recipe in your head, because I've made this a fair few times, or if you're following a recipe, you know, from a book or from the internet or whatever. So I have a whole head of broccoli here, just chopped into little florets that I've put on my board. I've got a carrot cut into pieces, an apple that I've quartered, and I've got tiny slithers of red onion because the recipe asks for a quarter of a red onion, but my family aren't the biggest fan of having the red onion in there, but I want it for a bit of color, and they won't notice if it's just a tiny amount. So it all goes in together, which is just great. And then we put our dressing in as well, and it all just combines. So to get the scales, I'm just going to bring this a bit closer. You swipe over and you've got all the modes here. I'm going to use the scales to put in my lemon juice, which I've already juiced. And I want 20 grams of lemon juice. That looks good. So you can see 1 gram increments, super accurate. We're also putting in a pinch of pepper and a pinch of salt. And the other main ingredient in the dressing is this yogurt. And I wanted to show you the yogurt because this is my reveal of the yogurt that I had cooking in the ferment mode last night. And so it cooks in the Varoma in my thermo server, the 2-liter thermo server. And it's on this, there's a mode here called ferment. And I just followed the guided cooking recipe for it to make my own yogurt. And so if you want to come closer, I can show you this beautiful natural yogurt here. And I'm going to pull up my scales because we want 100 grams of that to go in. And so I'm just going to scoop that. Look at that, perfectly thick and soft and creamy. And I want to have a little bit of a taste. Just perfect, actually, just really great. It had been a little while since I made yogurt. I got out of the habit of it. But yeah, that is beautiful yogurt. And the only ingredients in it, so this is making your own yogurt is a really great cost saver, but also just knowing that your family are eating healthy yogurt, a little bit more. So the only ingredients in the yogurt are, it's mainly milk. Putting in a little bit of sugar is optional. I put in 30 grams, so it ends up being just over a litre, so tiny percentage of sugar compared to the yogurt you're buying. You can put in milk powder if you want to make it thick like I have done, and the yogurt starter. So to start off with, you buy a yogurt that is live, like you can get the pot set Jalna yogurt, or there's another one, I think it's Activa. Oh, I can't remember the brand, but it says, you know, live cultures. Just make sure you're getting a good quality yogurt to be your starter. And now I will save some starter from here for my next batch. So it's ongoing, perpetual, and you won't need to buy more yogurt. I had my yogurt starter going for like 4 years in the past, and then I killed it because I went away and I didn't take care of it. But yeah, it's okay to start again. So that's what I've done. So back to our broccoli salad. We're chatting, but normally this is super quick because it all just goes in. And now I'm just going to use the speed to chop. And I'm going to turn it up to speed 4, maybe 4.5 actually. And I usually do 4 seconds, and then I will have a look and see. And if it needs longer, I can always do it longer. Oh, it looks good. So after 4 seconds, that's what we have. And I am happy with that texture. If you wanted it finer, you could go another second. But this is great. And as it all just turned around in the bowl, that dressing all just mixed in with it. So super quick, 5 second or 4 second, but add a minute to get your ingredients chopped and in the Thermomix. But yeah, 5 second salad done. I'll show you the end result. There's a few other salads I love. There's the beetroot salad, which is also 5 seconds. There's a traffic light salad. And what else? Coleslaw, where you can even make your own mayonnaise if you want, or if you've already got the mayonnaise, it's quick. So it all just goes in. Even in Cookie-Doo, if you just type in salad, lots come up. But we wanted to show you the chop function and chopping your veggies. I even use this. I just chopped veggies on speed 4 or 5 to go in fried rice or to go in pastas or risotto or whatever I'm doing where I want the veggies nice and small in the dinner. The Thermomix just does that for you in a few seconds. So there you go. And there is a beautiful broccoli salad that my family will eat for dinner tonight. Okay, here we go, rolling all along. So I would love to go back over to Yolanda now to show us another dish. We've got lots to show you tonight. Hope we're not all making you super hungry, and we're super sorry that you can't smell and eat all this food with us.
So I'm going to be really honest now and tell you that those prawns that I made smell so ridiculously good that as soon as I finish this dish, I'm going to be eating them. They smell just amazing. Anyway, I've got a really fast one for you now, and it's called maple cream custard. I found this one just Googling things to do with the Tm6. It uses the Thicken Mode. It's really fast to make, and it uses stuff that I've got in my house almost all the time. So simply some milk, some pure maple syrup, some corn flour, a couple of eggs, and some thick cream. So all we do is start our recipe, which I love guided cooking. Add the whole milk. So we want 200 grams of whole milk. In we go with that. And then we're going to add next 150 grams of heavy cream. I'm just using this purer one. They're saying about 33 to 35% milk fat is the ideal amount to have for a really creamy custard. You could add a lighter cream if you wanted to, but you won't have quite the same texture or richness. And the next thing, 250 grams of maple syrup, pure maple syrup. We're not adding any other sugars to this recipe. This is the only sweetener. It does give some lovely colour, and it also gives some really, really beautiful flavour. So there's almost 250. Oh, there we are, exactly 250. Love it when I'm accurate. Okay, 30 grams of cornstarch. Should have weighed that out in advance to be a bit faster, but never mind. Okay, and next 2 eggs. So all that was pretty simple. On goes the measuring cap into the mixing bowl lid. And then Thicken Mode, we're going to be cooking at 100 degrees, and we just turn the little selector when we're in Thicken Mode, and the Thermomix will determine the time we're going to cook for. In this instance, about 12 minutes at 100 degrees. When you're cooking with thicken, you've got the option, if you're doing it in a mode, to be thickening something made with eggs or something made with starch. This one is thickened with both, but it does have starch. So the starch needs to cook out at about 100 degrees for it to gelatinise well. If I was making something like a hollandaise, I'd be cooking at about probably 80 degrees because I don't need to get it as hot. So we'll just let that go for about 12 minutes. It'll probably be a bit less by the time it just gets itself going. I did find with this custard, when I made it the first time, it was really delicious, and you could use it as a pie filling in a tart. You could fill some little choux pastries with it. You could use it like a piped cream patisserie on the top of cakes as well. But the thing I did try was to freeze it and then churn it the next day and turn it into an ice cream, and that was yummy. So lots of different things you can do with a custard made with cream and maple syrup. Anyway, Laura, it's got about 11 minutes to go, and then all that's going to happen at the end is I'll pour it into a bowl and show you how it looks. So I'll let you get back to everybody else because I know there's a lot on tonight.
Thank you. We will come back to you soon. So here's another one that I've prepared earlier because as I explained, I needed to, well, this one I was going to have ready and show you anyway, but here we go. I am showing you, oh, I don't know what's happening. Sorry, just showing you the sous vide mode of the Thermomix, which I love. Hi, I'm going to show you now a beautiful sous vide dish called sous vide lamb chops with mint sauce, which is another great function of the Tm6, being able to sous vide in your Thermomix. But before we go, I've just got out all my ingredients ready, and I've noticed that my Tupperware with my cooking salt in it is empty. So I thought I would show you another great function of the Thermomix, which is to mill. And so you can mill any of your raw ingredients, and the beauty of that is that your end result has no additives or preservatives, and you know what's in it, which is 100% the raw ingredient, and you can do it fresh anytime. So I am turning my Himalayan rock salt into my cooking salt. I'm going to do a fair amount because I like to, oh, that's all, that's enough. I like to fill up my canister, but so all I need to do is turn this up to speed 10 for about 10 seconds. And now I have freshly milled cooking salt ready to go in all my recipes that ask for salt. You can see it's basically turned into dust there. I think you can see that, but yeah, beautiful powdered salt ready to go. So aside from salt, you can mill your own sugar into icing sugar or caster sugar. You can mill seeds, grains, spices, nuts, you know, anything. So basically anything you're already buying pre-processed, you can do that yourself, which will save you money and just be a bit healthier because of those lack of additives in it. So we'll carry on with the recipe now. Back to, we haven't started, but on to our recipe. And there's no need for me to clean the bowl because salt is one of the ingredients. I've got pretty much all of it out, so that's not a problem. And anytime you're milling, you need to have a very dry bowl for it to mill properly. So we will start cooking. Excited to show you all some sous vide today. So the first ingredient is, well, the first thing we're going to do is make the sauce. So it is telling me to add mint leaves. So in they go, and I'm just using guided cooking, so it's telling me what to do. The next thing it's asking for is cilantro, which is coriander. I'm following an American cookie dough recipe, so and I've got a mix of coriander and parsley because I ran out of coriander. We've been using a lot of Mexican lately, so I am super confident that parsley will work in it as well. And I've used a veggie peeler to get the lemon zest off one lemon, just peeled all around. So that's going in. And the juice from one lemon, that same lemon, that can go in. And then I think it's going to ask for the salt. So we want half a teaspoon of that back in. Great. And some pepper. It's only asking for an 1/8 of a teaspoon, so I'm just grinding that in because I don't keep milled pepper on hand, but I think that will be good. An 1/8 is like so tiny. So it's telling me to put the lid on and combine those ingredients. Okay, so I'm going to scrape it down and just have a check. Anytime you're not happy with how the Thermomix has processed your food, you can press the back button and do it again. Oh, it smells, that smell just hit me. It smells like mint. So I should show you. It's done a pretty good job. I actually want to chop it further because I could hear it. That's why I was talking about it. I think all the ingredients flung to the side too much. And in most recipes, you don't need to do this, but anytime you want to, there's a back button up the top and you can just do it again. I think I went up to speed too fast. I think that might be a bit better. Yeah, that looks good. Everything nicely chopped. We are going to be mixing this further as well once we add the oil. So it doesn't need to be completely small, but I wanted it to be a rough sort of texture. So now just adding a whole heap of oil, and I love that the scales just come up on the Thermomix. So as you're adding your ingredient, you know, you don't need to use measure cups, it just all goes in. Very nicely. And on the Tm6, the scales go in 1 gram increments, or if you're using the imperial method, which I don't often, but this recipe is, it goes in 0.1 ounces. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. So it's very sensitive and accurate, which is good. So it's telling me to put on the lid, and now I'm going to mix this for 1 minute on speed 3. So that has finished, and it is asking me to transfer the sauce to a bowl and set aside. I'm going to put it back in this bowl that I had the lemon zest in. Sorry, I'm not really showing you. I'll hold it up and show you all in a second. But it smells really good. So that is going to go on top of our lamb when it's ready, and will be a delicious addition. Okay, so I've rinsed the bowl, and now it's telling me to get my lamb chops, and the recipe says lamb loin chops. I'm using cutlets because the picture had cutlets, and we kind of figured it would just be a bit nicer for a cooking class. So I've put that in this bowl with some rosemary, salt, and pepper, as per it says, and it says to put that on top of the mixing bowl lid. And now whenever it's telling you to do that, it's because it wants you to weigh something in next. So adding in some oil. I'll try and drizzle it around, but it won't matter because the next step it's going to ask me to do is mix it all together. So toss to fully coat lamb chops. I'm going to use some tongs actually because I don't know, just thought I don't want to use my hands. So now we are going to, so it says to put it in the vacuum seal bags, which I am going to show you really soon. But what I'm going to do first is get the water on, because the water needs to heat to its temperature first before you add in the bag. So while that's going, I can show you how I do the vacuum seal bags. And you don't need a vacuum sealer to do it. If you have one, that's really great. But if you don't have one, that's the method I'm going to show you. So yeah. Okay, now this particular recipe is asking to use the blade cover, and because I'm using quite a few chops, I do want to use the blade cover. You can sous vide smaller amounts of food in the simmer basket inside your Thermomix. So if you don't have the blade cover, you can use your simmer basket, and that's great. Okay, so it's asking me to add a lot of water. We're basically filling it to almost the very top. It's about 2 liters, I think. It says 65 ounces, which I think might be close to 2 liters. You don't need to know really, because the scales, when a recipe is in imperial measurements, the scales are as well. So you don't need to worry about converting. Yeah, it's about 2 liters. So that's perfect. Oh, and lemon juice. So while that sauce was mixing a minute ago, I quickly juiced that lemon. Okay, maybe it's about half a lemon's worth. And that's because when you're cooking over a long period of time in the stainless steel bowl, you need something acidic in with the water to save your stainless steel. So it's important you don't skip that part of the recipe when you're doing sous vide. Okay, so measure cup goes in and that's heating up. So while that's heating up, I want to show you how to prepare your bags. So I have here a bowl of water and I'm going to put that down a little bit. Okay, so get our lamb chops here. I think that's tossed enough. This would just be good as is with rosemary oil. You can't see it. Rosemary oil, salt and pepper, but it's going to be delicious with that sauce we made. Okay, so I'm using snap lock bags. Just make sure you get BPA free snap lock bags. And because sous vide is such a gentle heat, it's very safe to cook in these. It's not going to be releasing any of the plastic into your food. So I'm going to try and lay them in so that none of the chops are overlapping. See how I go? And I've got to tell you, this is the first time I've done lamb sous vide. I've done chicken, steak, I've done steak quite a bit, and salmon and scallops. And is that all? And it's always worked out beautifully. But yeah, this is my first time doing lamb chops, but I feel confident because it's pretty easy. So once you have your bag full and nothing's overlapping, you want to shut the snap locks almost all the way. And I've left the middle just a bit open. And you're going to submerge it in a bowl of water. And that is going to make all the air that's in there release out the top. And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm holding up the top section so that water doesn't get in the bags, but we want the water to cover the snap section because we really don't want any air in there. And all I need to do is just finish closing up that middle section. So there we go. I don't know if you can tell from looking, but that's I can tell there's no air in there now. And if you haven't done it right, you would just open it up and try again, and that's not a problem. But that's very shrink wrapped, so I'm happy with that, and I'll carry on and I'll do the rest. Okay, the water has heated up and I've got my bags here. I've got 3 bags, so we'll see how they fit. So I am pressing next. It says place the sealed bags into the mixing bowl using kitchen tongs. Yeah, ensuring bags are well covered by water. They tell you to use the tongs because the water is hot. It's not that hot, it's just kind of warm. So I'm not too worried. Okay, looking good. I think there's room for my 3rd bag, which is an addition to the recipe. And the other thing to check is that the water isn't going to go too high, and I think it's good. Okay, so now we start the sous vide, and it says to go for 2 hours at 140 Fahrenheit, which is 60 degrees Celsius. And I've looked it up, and so that's the good temperature if you want medium cooked meat. And if you wanted it to be medium rare or rare, you'd go down from there. So on your screen, you can see here I've set it to, well, the recipe has it set to 140. If I wanted it to be medium rare, I believe it's 132, which is the same as 55 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to do 132 as an experiment because I do like medium rare, and we'll see how we go with that. So we'll come back in 2 hours to show you the next part of the result. the sous vide has finished now, and all I need to do is take out my bags and heat it up on a large fry pan, 2 minutes each side. So looking good. I'm excited. I'm just going to cook 2 of these because I want to cook the rest at dinner time. But I've got a pan heating up here, and but I want to show you these. So 2 minutes on either side, and they'll be ready. So the thing is, if I wanted to do this ahead of time, you can have these bags. They're, you know, sous vide ready. You can put these in the fridge. So if you want to do it any time of the day, you can have it done ready in the fridge until it's time to heat up your barbecue or whatever you're entertaining guests, or it's dinner time. And then it only takes you an extra 4 minutes to have your lamb ready. And that's the same as steak or chicken or anything that you're going to be searing. Yeah, ready for dinner time. Just a super quick, perfect result. So the thing with sous vide is that because it's such a gentle cook in that water bath, the texture is silky smooth each time. So that's why you'd go to this effort of doing this ahead of time to sear it. So see if that's ready to turn over. I don't know if that was a full 2 minutes. I might just, this is a bit boring for you to watch, so I'll just pause the recording and show you the result in, 2 minutes. So I've pulled my lamb chops off the stove, and I'm just going to drizzle with our beautiful sauce that we made earlier. I just had it in the fridge covered because, fresh chopped herbs, I wanted them to stay nice and green. So the last step just says serve hot with your mint sauce. So I'll drizzle that on, but I do want to cut open and show you what it looks like on the inside. Obviously, that's what it looks like at the moment. Oh, I just dripped all over the bench. Got a bit excited there. So that's okay. So time to cut in and show you the end result. Oh, it looks so good. That even just slicing through, that just felt so good. Just that slice there. Perfect. I don't even know if I can show you the inside. Hopefully you can see that. It's beautiful pink, but silky, soft. It's sliced through very nicely. And yeah, that's a great result. I'm really happy with my sous vide lamb chops with mint sauce. So there you go. That was the dinner, and we had rave reviews from everyone in the family about how nice and tender the lamb was. So if you haven't tried sous vide yet, it's worth a try. It's worth the experiment. So we better head back to Yolanda and see the end result of her custard.
Beautiful.
Hey,
my custard is ready, and it also smells really good. What I love about Thicken Mode is that, I don't want to, I'm going to pour it into a bowl. What I love about this is that you get lump-free, gorgeous custard, and this is just smelling so nicely of cream and maple syrup. You could decorate this with a little bit of grated dark chocolate on top or a bit of cream. You could pour it into little glasses if you'd rather, heat safe glasses, obviously. These are coffee cup glasses. Serve it any way you like. There's more in the bowl, but I won't keep tipping it out. As you can see, it's really smooth. It's got a beautiful colour. It smells wonderful. And I reckon that would be fantastic, used on cakes as well and in tarts. So I'm going to give that a try, making some pastry and then filling pastry cases with it. I think it'd be beautiful.
awesome. Thanks so much, Yolanda.
Super
Beautiful,
easy.
beautiful.
The Thicken Mode does make everything really easy, lump-free, beautiful.
Yeah, so I use that for my white sauce, like bechamel, and
Yeah.
what else do I use it for? Yeah, custard, hollandaise,
Gravy,
and gravy. Yeah. Yeah.
canned juices and some flour. Yep, beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you. We are going back to Penny now for her results. And then I've got a few other things to show.
Hi. Sorry, doing two things at once. So the eggs are done. Excuse my peeling. So I've got one unpeeled, one peeled. So we did them medium hard, I think, from memory. I'm just gonna slice one open. Look at that, perfectly medium hard. Can't fail with the egg boiler mode. I love it. So the next thing I will show you is the honeycomb. So it's pretty much set. So you can break it with a knife, or you can just crack it. I don't know if you can hear that sound. Let me see if that works. So I will continue to break that up. You could coat the honeycomb in chocolate if you wanted to, and make like a crunchy or violet crumble type thing. You could break it up a little bit more and pop it through some ice cream and make like a hokey pokey ice cream, or you can just eat it as is, which it generally gets eaten like this. So, and it actually makes quite a bit too. So quite inexpensive, very easy. You're not going to overcook it because Thermomix cooks it perfectly. And it's a nice sweet treat. So I'll get that broken up and then wrap it up and pop it in some Glad wrap or in a container just so the air doesn't get to it, because you don't want any moisture to get to it. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. That's perfect. And yeah, you touched on a point we may not have mentioned tonight, but that the main idea behind the Thermomix is hands-free cooking. So once you put your ingredients in and it's stirring and cooking for you, you can walk away and leave the kitchen and sometimes even leave the house, which is often what I end up doing if I need to go pick up kids from certain things. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Big, big time saver. So I want to show you one more mode tonight before I show you a few other things, but this is our kneading function. I'm just going to sort of commentate through this video showing the pizza Bianca recipe. So we've come to the search screen and start typing in the recipe you're wanting to cook. And once in, you just follow the steps like what we've been showing you tonight. This one it's sort of a garlic bread style pizza dough. So we're just going to be crushing the garlic and rosemary first and then setting that aside. But that only takes a few seconds to crush the garlic and the herbs. And another good thing about chopping your herbs in the Thermomix is because of the stainless steel bowl, nothing oxidizes in there. And so like you saw with my herb sauce on the lamb, the herbs stay green. They don't bruise or anything in the Thermomix. So set that aside in some oil, and that's going to go on top of the pizza. So now it's a normal, well, it's a dough recipe with 5 basic ingredients, but we start with our water and yeast. And I like this view of this video to be able to show you all the ingredients going in. So just dry instant yeast. I've tried using fresh yeast in the past and I didn't actually notice much of a difference. Maybe I'm not that of a connoisseur in bread, but I think the dry yeast works really well. So yeah, so the Thermomix heated the water and the yeast at 37 degrees, and that's that temperature control that it has. And now it's just kneading. It kneads for 2 minutes, and 2 minutes of kneading is the equivalent of about 20 minutes hand kneading. Obviously this is a time-lapse video for the sake of showing you very fast in a class, but it was 2 minutes of heating the water with the yeast and then 2 minutes of kneading. So all up about 5 minutes if you include getting your ingredients out of the pantry, and then you set it aside to rise for about half an hour or however long you want. In this video, we're just putting it in one dough, so it's going to be very thick, sort of a bit more like focaccia, but if you want it to be a normal pizza style, you can put it into 2 doughs and roll it thin, and you've got a nice thin style pizza too. So as you saw, just drizzling with the oil, herbs, bake it in the oven about 10-15 minutes and it's ready. So how's that for a 2-minute video of showing you how the Thermomix can knead your dough? And there's so many different types of dough recipes that you can do in a Thermomix. I've been trying a lot over the last few weeks of lockdown, just trying to try the different recipes. Oh, sorry, Paige is just asking a question in the chat that I was reading. Do you have to use the slow cook and knead mode with a recipe? No, you don't. All those modes that I showed you, it's only the high heat that you have to use in a recipe, although there are shortcuts. All these modes you can use anytime you want. So slow cook, ferment, dough, all those. I just went into one accidentally, sorry. Yeah, they're all there free to use on manual mode. With the high heat mode, just since you've asked, high heat's the only mode that you have to use within a recipe because it's just a safety set they have. They want to make sure you're putting in the right ingredients so it doesn't burn out or anything. But if you type in the words high heat into your search bar, you'll see that there's some basics you can do. So they've tried to cover off all the basics so that you don't feel like you have to be in a set actual recipe all the time. Like if you want to just caramelize onions or saute some chicken strips or prawns or whatever. So all your basics are here, which I think is really great. They also do take requests. If you're wanting to request recipes, you can send them in. Anyway, we've got out of the basics there. The longer you scroll, yeah, hopefully that answers that question, but let me know if it doesn't. I also wanted to just show you how Cookie Do works a little bit with getting super organized for your week with your meal plan and everything. So this is what it looks like on the computer. You can have it on an app, on your phone or iPad, or just on your computer. What will I put in? Let's show you some slow cook recipes because we haven't done any slow cook tonight. There's a heap. You can see 2,675 slow cook recipes have come up. Once you've chosen a recipe that you're wanting to cook, you can organize it. Let's go with some pulled pork. If you press these 3 dots to the side, you can organize your recipe by putting it in the Cook Today, adding a bookmark. You can add it to a folder, and these are my folders. You can have as many folders as you want. You could start a new one if you haven't got a collection for what you're wanting. But the thing I wanted to show you is that you can do a meal plan. So you could add this to whatever day you're wanting to cook it, and also add it to the shopping list. And so then on that day, on your Thermomix, when you go into the meal plan section, which you've seen some of us do today, Jen had the hot chocolate in her meal plan. It's just there on the screen telling you that that's what you planned to cook that day. And you can change it around as well. But if I go to my week here you go, you can see what I cooked today. But I do want to show you this shopping list. So all the recipes, I only had one in there, but here we go, I better add some more. If you add a few, as many as you want really, recipes into your shopping list, it separates all the ingredients out into categories. So as you're going down the aisles, all your dairies together and all your meat and spices and whatever you need is together so that you're not going back and forth all over the supermarket. And if you use the app on your phone and tick with your finger as you go, as you're adding the items to the trolley, you'll empty your list. So by the end, it should be empty. Before you leave to go to the shops, obviously tick off what you've already got at home. So if you've already got the sugar and the yeast and you've got lemons on the tree. So yeah, really super easy to do your shopping. But also, if you don't want to be the one doing the shopping, you can share the list with someone else. Or if I press this order ingredients button, it only works with Woolworths, but super convenient for a click and collect or a home delivery order. So it brings up everything from your weekly plan shopping list. It comes up. If you don't like the brand they've chosen, you press the swap button and you can choose what brand you do want to use, whether you want it to be cheaper or organic or whatever you're after. Everyone's different with how they shop. Once you're ready, you just add to your Woolworths cart, and that opens up your Woolies online account so that you can choose your click and collect time. So really this just really makes cooking easier, because you're so organized with your meal plan and your shopping list, and then you're not wasting ingredients, and it's saving you money. I don't know, just better all round to be being organized with all of that. So that's Cookie Do. And then on your screen, if you are organizing, so some people don't do that. Some people just come straight here and use this. But if you are getting organized, it's up here in the menu top left. So you'll see my recipes here. I've got my bookmarks and my saved collections, and also my created collections. So these are the ones I showed you. That was just taking a second to load. As I said, we've been having internet problems today. So yes, and the meal of your week is in here. And as you saw, we added the slow cooked pulled pork in there, and it just shows up on the screen. So you can come here and, like, I could put something in here and say, hey kids, go make dinner, and they'll come and they'll go, okay, it's Tuesday, this is what mum wants us to make. And they can come in and then just get going with it. And, you know, it will lead them through. So the whole system of Cookadoo and the Thermomix and the machine cooking for you, it just makes life super easy. So you really can save a lot of time, save money with cooking from basics, and just have yummy food as well. So the other thing I wanted to show you, sorry, we've gone a bit longer than we like to. We try and stick to an hour, and it sometimes just doesn't work. But I wanted to let you know that the price of the Thermomix at the moment is $2,269. It is actually going to be increasing on the 20th of July, just due to a whole heap of market constraints and cost of business rising and all of that. We do have some really great payment options. We have 24 months interest free, which works out at $23.69 a week. That's a pretty popular option for those who just want it to be super affordable. I promise you won't even miss that $24 out of your bank account each week. You'll just have a Thermomix on your bench, and you'll be saving money with all your cooking that you're doing from scratch, and you'll just love it. Another really great option is that you can earn a Thermomix by becoming a Thermomix consultant. So instead of spending your money, you can spend your time and share the Thermomix with your network or community or wherever you are. You can also be an online consultant where you know, like we are tonight, demonstrating over Zoom and social media. So it's pretty flexible, it's fun, it's flexible hours, and yeah, just a great way to get a Thermomix on your bench. You can also split the payments out in over 3 payments, or you can do a bank transfer and put it on a card or use PayPal. So if you want more info about the payment options, speak to your consultant. I'm trying to do this fast. The other great thing is we have a promotion on at the moment for anyone who purchases a Thermomix in July, to not only get everything I already showed you and all these accessories always come with it, but at the moment you can also get the Thermo Mat, which is here. This is what we use for working with doughs and pastries. It's got all the measurements and a ruler, and it rises your dough really nicely, so it just traps in the heat. You saw us using it in that pizza video that I showed just a few seconds ago. Yeah, normally this is an additional cost or an optional extra, but coming free this month, as well as our super cool, very heavy, sturdy bread tin with lid, so you can make a perfectly square loaf. And so you just put the lid on with the handle going on first to make a square loaf. So that's a really great addition to have as well. So that's a really great bonus for July. What else? The other option you all have, thanks Pauline, I've seen your message in the chat, for anyone who wants to share the Thermomix and get a host reward, we've got a few different host rewards you can get, and that's mainly our thermo servers, but also this month you could get a blade cover, or there's a mat duo pack as well. By showing the Thermomix to just two friends, you can have a few more if you want, but that's the minimum. You can also be eligible for a host reward as well. So talk to your consultant about how that works. It can be in person or it can be online. We also have a few other public cooking classes like tonight's class, how this is public and open to anyone. We seem to have something on every day. It's not always us, all the consultants around the country really just kind of taking turns running classes and sharing all the tips with everyone. So just ask your consultant how you can find out about different classes that are happening. So that's really the end of our cooking class, and I hope you have learned something. I hope you've I don't know, enjoyed the evening. As I said earlier, the recording will come out tomorrow with the links to the recipes, and anytime you have any questions, maybe we haven't covered something, there's so much we could talk about the Thermomix, but just get in touch with your particular consultant. We're always really happy to help. It's never a hassle. So please reach out. I will also stay on now. I'm going to end the recording and I will stay on. So if anyone has any other questions that you haven't asked in the chat tonight, please feel free to come off mute or keep putting it in chat, whatever works for you. So thanks everyone and have a great night.